when we're trying to figure out why our competition outranks us for a lot of the main keywords we're going after, you'll see a common thread among a lot of these websites. You'll see that the websites that are on the front page for really competitive keywords, and we're talking about general city plus main practice area pages like personal injury, criminal defense, divorce, family, you'll see that the people on the first page generally have an authoritative website, a lot of backlinks, a lot of links coming from different places. You could say a diverse backlink portfolio from a financial standpoint. You'll see that they engage pretty consistently and heavily on content, whether it be pages or blogs or other forms of content on the website. And you'll also see that there's probably a pretty good degree of on-page optimization, correct meta titles and descriptions, keyword density on the pages. You'll also see that there's good internal linking and H tags and a lot of other stuff. So in this short video series, we're going to see what the biggest differences are between people that aren't anywhere on the first page and the people that are on the first page. And maybe at some point we'll get into what makes a difference as far as who beats out other people on the first page, because that's when it gets very nuanced and frankly a little bit more technical. Who's number one versus number four? Those differences aren't as apparent. But this isn't a situation where you're just not really on the first page. Maybe you're on the second page, third page for a lot of keywords you've been working for, and you haven't really had that much traction. So let's look at some common threads that we see. So, just to confirm that some of the things I'm going to be discussing align with what we're going to be looking at long term. So let's just use a couple examples here. So we can see for Houston criminal lawyers, this is objectively a difficult keyword. I don't really have to do any research to confirm that this is going to be a competitive keyword. We know that this probably gets several hundred searches on a monthly basis. So recommended. So the reason that you're always going to see directories, it's Google's job to create a diverse landscape of search engine ranking positions, the SERPs. They want to make sure that the user experience is adequate, and that means including directories, blogs, websites, and other things. So if you're always wondering, why does FindLaw always win Justia and Super Lawyers Expertise, all these websites, it's because they are authoritative. The content from a content standpoint is pretty much trash or non-existent. It doesn't really answer any questions, but it's just kind of Google's way of being like, we're going to add directories in people's websites. So we're going to look at this particular website and compare it to maybe someone that is a little ways back. And the things that you'll see that are typically uncommon, this has a ton of content and this doesn't. This says Houston criminal attorney. This says criminal lawyer. Of course, that's pretty much the same information right there. So they have the same titles. As far as, mentioning it on the page, this mentions criminal 34 times. This mentions it 19. I know that this isn't the end all be all here, but I just want to kind of create the theme here that you're going to see later on, especially once we start talking about, using tools to basically identify authority, which comes from backlinking. And that's going to be one of the bigger factors when it comes to ranking keywords that I'm sure you may have heard about it, but maybe you don't know the extent of it, that you start seeing how, the authority of this really a high ranking page says it's a 0 from the subfolder standpoint. I guarantee from the website as a whole, 38 is pretty substantial relative to most other websites. And you'll see here that the authority will be less at 19. So that's just one example, but we'll go into many other examples. And I'd like to start with getting right into it. We'll look at backlinks and maybe we'll use these as an example, and you'll see how transparent it is to see what's going on for backlinking.